Captain Sarah Chen walked through the metal hallways of her ship, the UES Harmony. Her boots made soft sounds on the floor as she headed to the meeting room. Today was important. The Zephyrian aliens were coming to talk about trade deals, and Earth needed these deals to look normal. Sarah stopped at a window and looked out at space. Stars filled the darkness like tiny diamonds. She had been doing this job for 10 years now. 10 years of pretending that humans were weak and simple. 10 years of letting aliens think they were better than her people. The door behind her opened with a soft hiss. Lieutenant James Park walked in carrying a datapad in his hands. "Captain, the Zephyrian ship is getting close. They will be here in 30 minutes, James said. Sarah turned around and nodded. "Good, are our weapons powered down?" "Yes, Captain. All weapons are off. Our shields are at minimum power. We look just like a peaceful trade ship," James replied. Sarah smiled, but it was not a happy smile. The Zephyrians thought humans were stupid. They thought Earth only had 200 old ships that could barely fly between planets. They had no idea what humans really had hidden in the dark parts of space. The communication system beeped. A voice came through the speakers. "This is Admiral Kane from Luna Base. Sarah, can you hear me?" Sarah pressed a button. "Yes, Admiral. I can hear you. Remember, today you are just a simple human captain. Let them think we are weak. Let them think we need their help." "The plan depends on it," Admiral Kane said. "I understand, sir. They will see exactly what we want them to see," Sarah replied. James looked confused. He was new to this job and did not know all the secrets yet. Sarah would tell him everything when the time was right. For now, he just needed to follow orders. The Zephyrian ship appeared outside the window. It was big and ugly, covered in sharp points and dark metal. The aliens who built it wanted everyone to know they were dangerous. Sarah thought it looked like something a child would draw if asked to make the scariest spaceship possible. "Captain, they are asking permission to come on our ship," James said. "Let them come. But remember, we are just simple humans who are grateful for their attention," Sarah told him. The meeting room was plain and simple. Sarah had made sure of that. No fancy technology, no comfortable chairs, nothing that would make the aliens think humans were smart or rich. She sat at a basic metal table and waited. The door opened and 3 Zephyrians walked in. They were tall, with bodies like giant insects. Their skin looked like green glass and their eyes were big and black. The one in front was their leader. His name was Crix and he thought he was very important. "Human female," Crix said in a voice that sounded like breaking glass. "We have decided to consider trade with your small planet." Sarah stood up and bowed her head a little. It made her feel sick to act so weak, but the plan needed this. "Thank you, honored Crix. Earth is grateful that you would consider helping us," she said. Crix made a sound that might have been laughing. "Your people make good workers. Not very smart, but strong enough for simple jobs. We might buy some of your food and give you basic tools in return." Sarah nodded and smiled like this was wonderful news. Inside, she was thinking about the hidden shipyards where humans built ships that could destroy Crix's entire fleet in minutes. "That sounds fair," she said. "What kind of tools would you give us?" "Mining equipment. Simple computers. Maybe some old weapons if you behave well," Crix replied. The other 2 Zephyrians looked around the room with their big black eyes. Sarah could tell they were not impressed. They saw exactly what she wanted them to see, a weak human ship with basic technology. "Your ship is very simple," one of them said. "We do our best with what we have," Sarah replied. "Human technology is not very advanced." This was the biggest lie she had ever told. Hidden in asteroids and on the dark side of Earth's moon, humans had technology that would amaze these aliens. Ships that could appear and disappear like ghosts, weapons that could crack planets in half, computers so smart they were almost alive, but the Zephyrians could not know any of that. Not yet. The meeting went on for 2 hours. Crix talked about how generous the Zephyrians were being. He explained how humans should be grateful for any help they could get. Sarah nodded and agreed with everything he said. When the aliens finally left, James looked at Sarah with questions in his eyes. "Captain, why did we let them talk to us like that? I have heard stories about what humans can really do. Why do we pretend to be so weak?" he asked. Sarah looked out the window again. The Zephyrian ship was flying away, probably going back to tell their friends how stupid and helpless humans were. "James, let me tell you something about patience," she said. "Sometimes the best way to win a fight is to let your enemy think they have already won." "I don't understand," James said. "You will. Soon I think you will understand everything. Far away on the moon, Admiral Kane sat in a room deep underground. The room was full of screens showing ships and weapons that officially did not exist. For 300 years, humans had been building and hiding and preparing. Kane pressed a button and spoke into a microphone. All base commanders, this is Admiral Kane. The Zephyrians continue to underestimate us. The other alien species still think we are harmless. Continue with your work. Keep building ships. Keep training crews. One day soon, the galaxy will see what humans really are. On screens around the room, images showed massive shipyards hidden inside asteroids. Thousands of workers built ships that were invisible to alien sensors. These ships could travel faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. Kane looked at a picture on his desk. It showed Earth from space, blue and beautiful and peaceful. But around Earth, hidden in the darkness, waited the most powerful fleet ever built by any species in the galaxy. Let them think we are weak, Kane said to himself. Let them think we are simple. When the time comes, they will learn the truth. Back on the Harmony, Sarah finished writing her report about the meeting. She made sure to sound grateful and humble. She wrote about how much humans needed the Zephyrians to help them. But in a secret part of the report, hidden in code that only Admiral Kane would understand, she wrote something different. She wrote about how the aliens were getting more bold, how they were starting to push humans around more than before. She wrote that maybe soon it would be time to stop pretending. The stars outside her window seemed to twinkle, like they were keeping secrets too. And in the dark between the stars, invisible ships moved silently through space, watching and waiting. The galaxy thought it knew what humans were. The galaxy was wrong. Warlord Thakmor stood on the bridge of his warship, the Bloodclaw. His red scales caught the light from the stars outside. His yellow eyes looked at the reports on his screen, and he was not happy. Humans are getting too comfortable, he said to his second in command, a smaller reptile named Screeks. They have too much influence in the council. Other species listen to them too much. Screeks nodded his head quickly. Yes, my lord. The humans pretend to be peaceful, but they are getting rich from trade. Some aliens even ask for human advice now. Thakmor's claws scratched the metal arm of his chair. The hegemony of stellar dominions was supposed to be the strongest force in the galaxy. They had conquered dozens of worlds. They had made other species bow down and pay them tribute. But somehow, these weak humans were making friends and gaining power without fighting anyone. It made Thakmor angry. We will teach them their place, he said. Send word to all hegemony commanders. It is time to show the galaxy who really rules here. 3 days later, a human medical ship called the Hope's Light was flying through space. The ship was carrying medicine and food to a planet where millions of people were sick with a terrible disease. Captain Maria Santos was in charge of the ship. We should reach Kepler Colony in 6 hours, her pilot said. The medicine will save a lot of lives, Maria smiled. This was why she loved her job. Humans helped other species when they were in trouble. It was the right thing to do. Suddenly, alarms started ringing all over the ship. Captain, we have big ships coming toward us. They are hegemony warships, the pilot said, his voice full of fear. Maria's heart started beating fast. Send them a message. Tell them we are a medical ship with supplies for sick people. The communication screen turned on. Thakmor's ugly face appeared, his yellow eyes full of hatred. Human ship, you are carrying illegal weapons. Prepare to be destroyed, he said. We have no weapons, Maria shouted. We only have medicine and food. Lies, Thakmor replied. All human ships are spies and smugglers. The screen went dark. A moment later, bright lights filled space around the Hope's Light. The hegemony ships fired their biggest weapons. In seconds, the medical ship was gone. Maria and her crew were dead. The medicine that could have saved millions of lives was floating in space as tiny pieces. Thakmor smiled as he watched the explosion. On Earth, Admiral Kane received the news about the Hope's Light. His hands made fists as he read the report. Around him, other officers looked angry and sad. Sir, should we respond? Asked Colonel Williams. Kane was quiet for a long moment. Not yet. Send a protest to the Galactic Council. Let them ignore it like they always do. We need the hegemony to make more mistakes first. The second attack came 2 weeks later. New Geneva was one of humanity's biggest farm worlds. Millions of people lived there, growing food that fed dozens of planets. It was a peaceful place with green fields and blue skies. The hegemony fleet arrived without warning. Thakmor himself led the attack. People of New Geneva, his voice echoed from every communication device on the planet. You now belong to the hegemony. Anyone who fights will die. Anyone who obeys will live as our slaves. The few human defense ships around New Geneva tried to fight back. They were old and weak, just like all the ships Earth let other aliens see. The hegemony destroyed them easily. Sarah Chen was in a meeting on Earth when the news came. She watched the reports on the screen, her heart breaking as she saw hegemony soldiers forcing human families from their homes. 2 million people, she said quietly. 2 million humans now slaves. The man next to her, General Roberts, looked angry. Sarah, how long do we have to watch this happen? We have the power to stop them. The Admiral's orders are clear, Sarah replied. We wait. But inside she was screaming. Earth sent messages to the Galactic Council asking for help. The Council met and talked and did nothing useful. Some species said the hegemony was wrong, but none of them wanted to fight such a powerful enemy. The Zephyrians even said that maybe humans had done something to deserve the attack. After all, they said, the hegemony would not attack without a good reason. Admiral Kane read all the responses in his underground office on the moon. Each message made him more certain that he had been right to prepare for war. They will all learn, he said to himself. Soon they will all learn. The final provocation came 3 days later. Thakmor decided that Earth itself needed to be taught a lesson. He brought his entire fleet to humanity's home system. Luna Base looked like a simple mining operation on the surface. Most aliens thought humans just dug rocks there to make basic tools. They had no idea that deep underground Admiral Kane commanded the most advanced military base in the galaxy. Humans of Earth. Thakmor's message came from every screen and speaker on the planet. You have seen what happens to those who do not know their place. Surrender now or watch your species burn. Kane stood in his command center, surrounded by screens showing Thakmor's ships. The alien fleet was big and looked dangerous. But Kane was not afraid. Sir, they are targeting the surface installations, reported Major Chen, Sarah's younger sister. Let them, Kane said calmly. The hegemony ships fired at the visible parts of Luna Base. Explosions lit up the dark side of the moon. Buildings collapsed and burned. It looked like the attack had destroyed everything. Over 3,000 people died in the surface installations. They were good people who had volunteered to keep the secret safe. Kane felt each death like a knife in his heart. But deep underground, the real Luna Base was untouched. The most powerful weapons in human space were still safe. The hidden fleet was still ready. Captain Sarah Chen barely escaped the lunar attack in her damaged ship. Half her crew was hurt and her engines were failing. As she limped back toward Earth, she received a coded message that made her heart race. Authorization Omega-7 confirmed. Operation. Revelation is now active. All units report to assigned positions. The time for hiding is over. Sarah's hands shook as she read the message again. After 300 years of patience, humans were finally going to show the galaxy their true strength. In hidden bases throughout the solar system, alarms were ringing. Thousands of ships that officially did not exist powered up their engines. Weapons that could destroy planets charged their energy cells. Admiral Kane spoke into his microphone, sending his words to every hidden human base in space. For 3 centuries, we have watched. We have planned. We have prepared. The enemy thinks they have won. They think humans are helpless. They are about to learn how wrong they are. Outside Earth's atmosphere, Thakmor was preparing to destroy humanity's home planet. His ships formed a circle around the blue world, ready to turn it into a ball of fire. Begin the bombardment, he ordered. But before his ships could fire, something impossible happened. Space around them started to shimmer and bend. Out of nothing, huge human ships appeared. Hundreds of them, then thousands. Thakmor's eyes went wide with shock and fear. This was not possible. Humans only had 200 old ships. Everyone knew that. His communication officer's voice was full of panic. Sir, we count 50,000 human vessels. Our sensors show technology we have never seen before. Thakmor looked at the screens showing the human fleet. Their ships were beautiful and terrible at the same time. They moved like living things, smooth and silent and deadly. A message came from the largest human ship. Admiral Kane's face appeared on Thakmor's screen. The human looked calm and cold. Warlord Thakmor, Kane said in a quiet voice. You wanted to see what humans are capable of. Congratulations, you are about to find out. Admiral Kane stood in the command center of his flagship, the Terran Vengeance. Around him, holographic displays showed the positions of 50,000 human ships. Each ship was a masterpiece of technology that had been built in secret over 3 centuries. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said Commander Torres, his chief of operations. Kane nodded slowly. For 300 years, this moment had been planned. Every detail had been thought about. Every possibility had been prepared for. "Send the activation signal to all hidden bases," Kane ordered. "It's time to show them who we really are." Throughout the solar system, installations that looked like simple mining operations suddenly transformed. Asteroid Belt Station 7 had appeared to be a basic rock processing facility. Now its surface split open like a flower, revealing massive weapons that could destroy moons. On Titan, what aliens thought was a research base studying ice samples powered up fusion reactors bigger than most alien cities. Weapons platforms rose from beneath the frozen surface, their energy signatures blazing like new stars. The dark side of Earth's moon, which had seemed empty except for a few mining tunnels, revealed itself as the entrance to the largest military complex ever built. Hangar doors opened in the lunar surface, each one big enough for a city. Ships poured out like angry metal insects joining the growing fleet around Earth. Captain Sarah Chen watched from her damaged ship as the impossible became real. She had known about the hidden fleet, but seeing it all revealed at once took her breath away. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Park, standing beside her. "How long have we been building all this?" "Since the day we first met aliens," Sarah replied. "Since the day we realized we might someday need to fight for our survival." The hegemony fleet, which had seemed so powerful just moments before, now looked small and helpless. Thakmor's ships were surrounded by human vessels that moved with impossible grace and speed. On the bridge of the Blood Claw, Thakmor stared at his sensors in disbelief. The readings made no sense. These human ships were using technology that should not exist. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Our intelligence report said humans were primitive." His science officer, a nervous creature with purple skin, checked his instruments again. "Sir, these ships are using quantum tunnel drives. Their hulls are made of materials we cannot identify. Their energy signatures suggest they have weapons more powerful than our entire fleet combined." Thakmor's claws dug into his command chair. "Fire on the nearest human ship. Show them we are not afraid." "Sir, our weapons cannot lock onto them." "They seem to phase in and out of normal space," the weapons officer reported. It was true. The human ships flickered like ghosts, appearing solid one moment and nearly invisible the next. Their stealth technology was beyond anything the hegemony had ever seen. Admiral Kane opened a communication channel to all hegemony ships. His calm voice filled their bridges, speaking in perfect hegemony language. "Warlord Thakmor, for 3 centuries your people and others have seen humans as weak prey. You have underestimated us badly. We are not the helpless species you thought we were. On Earth, people watched the sky through their windows and on their screens. They saw the lights of thousands of human ships filling the darkness above their planet. Many cried with relief and pride. Their secret guardians had finally revealed themselves. The human fleet moved with perfect coordination. Each ship knew exactly where to go and what to do. This was not a hurried response to an attack. This was a plan that had been practiced for centuries. Ship types that no alien had ever seen before took their positions. Dreadnought-class vessels, each one 5 miles long, formed the backbone of the formation. Cruiser squadrons moved between them like sharks circling prey. Fighter wings buzzed around the larger ships, their pilots eager for the chance to finally use their training. But the most impressive ships were the ones called Phantom-class destroyers. These vessels could become completely invisible and move through space faster than light itself. They appeared around individual hegemony ships like deadly magic tricks. "Sir," reported Major Chen from her station, "all enemy vessels are now targeted. We have firing solutions on every ship in their fleet." Kane looked at the display showing Thakmor's position. The alien warlord was trapped in the center of a formation that could destroy him instantly. "Open a channel to the Galactic Council," Kane ordered. "I want everyone to see this." Across the galaxy, every alien government received the transmission. Leaders who had dismissed humans as unimportant suddenly found themselves watching a display of power that changed everything they thought they knew. Kane's face appeared on screens throughout known space. Behind him, the bridge of the Terran Vengeance hummed with advanced technology that made alien equipment look like children's toys. "People of the galaxy," Kane began, his voice carrying the authority of absolute power. "For 3 centuries, humanity has maintained a peaceful facade. We have allowed others to believe we were weak and primitive. This was a choice, not a limitation. In the Zephyrian capital, Crix watched the transmission with growing horror. He remembered his recent meeting with Captain Chen, how he had treated her like a primitive savage. Now he realized he had been speaking to representatives of the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. We chose to appear weak so we could study you, Kane continued. We learned your languages, your technologies, your military tactics. We discovered your weaknesses and your fears, all while you thought you were dealing with simple creatures who posed no threat. The camera moved to show the massive bridge around Kane. Holographic displays showed tactical information that represented centuries of intelligence gathering. Every alien ship design, every weapon type, every defensive system, humans had studied it all and found ways to defeat it. The hegemony has made a critical error, Kane said, looking directly into the camera. They have attacked civilians. They have enslaved peaceful colonists. They have forced us to abandon our careful policy of non-interference. On the Bloodclaw, Thackamore felt fear creeping into his hearts. He had two hearts, like all his species, and both were beating fast with terror. We do not want war, Kane's voice continued. But if war is what you bring to us, we will show you why patience and preparation are more powerful than aggression and arrogance. The transmission ended. For a moment, space around Earth was silent except for the hum of 50,000 human ships waiting for orders. Then Kane's voice came over the military channels, heard only by his own forces. All ships prepare for demonstration. Show them what 3 centuries of human engineering can accomplish. Show them why we are the apex predators of this galaxy. The human fleet began to move. It was beautiful and terrifying to watch. Ships that had been invisible became solid and real. Formations that had seemed random suddenly revealed themselves as perfect tactical arrangements. The hegemony fleet tried to run. Their ships turned away from Earth and activated their fastest engines. But they quickly discovered that human ships were much faster than anything they had ever built. Phantom-class destroyers appeared in front of the fleeing hegemony vessels, like ghosts materializing from dreams. The aliens found themselves surrounded no matter which direction they tried to go. Warlord Thackamore, Kane's voice came over all communication frequencies. You wanted to demonstrate your power over humanity. Instead, you have given us the opportunity to demonstrate our power over you. Thackamore looked around his bridge at his terrified crew. His weapons officer was shaking. His navigation officer had stopped trying to plot escape routes. They all knew they were trapped. What do you want? Thackamore transmitted back, his voice much smaller than it had been before. Kane's reply was simple and cold. We want you to understand that the age of alien dominance over humanity has ended. What comes next depends entirely on whether you are smart enough to learn from your mistakes. The human fleet tightened its formation around the hegemony ships, 50,000 vessels against 300. The outcome was not in question. What happened next would be remembered throughout the galaxy as the day humanity stopped pretending to be weak. The battle that followed was not really a battle at all. It was a demonstration of what humans could do when they stopped holding back. Admiral Kane watched from the bridge of the Terran Vengeance as his fleet moved into position. Each ship captain knew their role perfectly. They had trained for this moment for decades. Begin Phase 1, Kane ordered quietly. The human ships moved like dancers in space. They flowed around the hegemony fleet in patterns that seemed impossible. Their quantum tunnel drives let them appear and disappear at will, making them almost impossible to target. Thackamore's weapons officer fired everything he had at the nearest human ship: plasma cannons, missile systems, energy beams. All of the hegemony's most powerful weapons lit up the darkness of space. Every shot missed. The human ships simply were not there when the weapons arrived. How are they doing this? Thackamore screamed at his crew. His science officer checked his instruments with shaking hands. Sir, they seem to be moving through time as well as space. Our weapons cannot hit a target that exists in a different moment. Captain Sarah Chen commanded a squadron of 12 human cruisers. Her ship, the New Harmony, led the group as they surrounded a hegemony battleship called the Star Render. Remember, she told her pilots, we want them alive. Disable their engines and weapons, but do not destroy them. Sarah's ships moved in perfect coordination. They had practiced this maneuver thousands of times in secret training exercises. Each cruiser fired a single blue beam at specific points on the enemy ship. The beams were not designed to destroy. They were designed to turn off. Every system on the star render simply stopped working. Engines, weapons, life support, communications, everything went dark in seconds. The crew of the star render was unharmed but completely helpless. They floated in space inside a ship that had become nothing more than a metal box. This scene repeated itself across the entire battle area. Human ships appeared next to hegemony vessels, fired their shutdown beams, and moved on to the next target. It was efficient and clean and absolutely overwhelming. Commander Torres reported from his station on the Terran Vengeance. Admiral, 60% of enemy ships have been disabled. No human casualties. No enemy casualties? Kane nodded. Continue to Phase 2. The second phase was even more impressive than the first. Human fighters launched from their carriers, but these were not normal fighters. Each one was controlled by an artificial intelligence that could think faster than any biological brain. The AI fighters moved through space like schools of fish, flowing around obstacles and enemy fire with impossible grace. They conducted surgical strikes on the remaining active hegemony ships, disabling specific systems while leaving others untouched. A hegemony destroyer tried to ram one of the human cruisers. Its captain thought that if he could not win with weapons, he might win by crashing into his enemy. But the human ship simply was not there when the destroyer arrived. It had moved through a quantum tunnel to a position behind the enemy vessel. A single shot disabled the destroyer's engines, leaving it drifting helplessly in space. The most spectacular moment came when Thakmor tried to use his flagship's most powerful weapon. The Bloodclaw had a planet-killer cannon that could crack worlds in half. He aimed it at Earth itself, thinking that if he could not win, he would at least hurt the humans badly. The Terran Vengeance appeared directly in front of the planet-killer beam. For a moment, it seemed like Admiral Kane's ship would be destroyed. Instead, something impossible happened. The beam hit the human ship and simply disappeared. The Terran Vengeance absorbed energy that should have destroyed it completely and converted that energy into power for its own systems. Energy absorption complete, reported the ship's AI in a calm voice. All systems at 120% capacity. Thakmor stared at his screens in absolute horror. The humans had not just blocked his most powerful weapon, they had eaten it and become stronger. Warlord Thakmor. Kane's voice came over the communication system. Thank you for the energy donation. Our shields are now fully charged. The final phase of the demonstration began. Human ships that had been holding back now showed their true speed and power. They moved so fast that they seemed to be in multiple places at once. A single human destroyer, the Lightning Strike, disabled 12 hegemony ships in 30 seconds. It moved between them like a bolt of electricity, touching each one just long enough to turn off all their systems. The human pilots were laughing as they worked. After centuries of hiding their abilities, they were finally free to show what they could do. It felt wonderful to stop pretending to be weak. This is Captain Rodriguez of the Thundercloud, came a voice over the military channel. I just disabled an entire hegemony squadron with one shot. These new weapons are amazing. Throughout space around Earth, hegemony ships went dark one by one. Some tried to surrender. Others tried to run. A few tried to fight to the end. It did not matter what they chose. The result was always the same. In 6 hours, the entire hegemony invasion force was neutralized. 300 of their most powerful warships floated helplessly in space. Their crews were alive but trapped inside ships that no longer worked. Not a single human ship had been damaged. Not one human pilot had been hurt. Admiral Kane opened a communication channel to the defeated fleet. His voice was calm and professional, like a teacher explaining a lesson to students. Warlord Thakmor, your invasion of Earth has failed completely. Your fleet is now our prisoner. Your crews will be treated according to galactic law, which means they will be treated better than you treated our colonists. Thakmor's voice came back, weak and defeated. How? How is this possible? Our intelligence said humans were primitive. Kane allowed himself a small smile. Your intelligence was exactly what we wanted it to be. For 3 centuries, we have controlled what information you received about us. Every alien spy who visited Earth saw only what we wanted them to see. The truth was even more incredible than Kane was telling them. Human intelligence networks had agents throughout the galaxy. Some were humans who looked like other species through advanced genetic modification. Others were aliens who had been convinced to work for humanity. Every alien government had human spies in their highest levels. Every military base had human agents gathering information. For 300 years, humans had been watching and learning and preparing. Your mistake, Kane continued, was believing that a species could survive first contact with hostile aliens without becoming very good at war. You thought we were lucky primitives. We are actually the result of 3 centuries of focused evolution toward a single goal, becoming strong enough to protect ourselves. Captain Sarah Chen led the operation to rescue the human colonists on New Geneva. Her ships arrived at the planet to find hegemony soldiers holding millions of humans prisoner. But these soldiers had just received news of their fleet's defeat. Many of them were ready to surrender immediately. The few who tried to fight discovered that human ground forces were just as advanced as their space fleet. Human Marines wore powered armor that made them stronger than any alien. Their weapons could stun enemies without killing them. The liberation of New Geneva took 4 hours. Every human colonist was freed. Every hegemony soldier was captured alive. People of New Geneva, Sarah's voice came over every communication device on the planet. You are free. The hegemony will never threaten you again. The colonists cheered and cried and hugged each other. Many of them had thought they would never see their families again. Back in Earth orbit, Admiral Kane prepared for the next phase of his plan. The demonstration was over. Now came the harder part, deciding what to do with a galaxy that had just learned to fear humanity. Sir, reported Commander Torres, we are receiving surrender offers from 17 different alien governments. They all want to negotiate new treaties immediately. Kane looked at the screen showing his massive fleet. 50,000 ships that had been hidden for centuries were now visible to the entire galaxy. Every alien civilization was frantically trying to figure out how to deal with this new reality. Send a message to the Galactic Council, Kane ordered. Tell them that Admiral Kane of the Human Defense Force requests an immediate emergency session. Tell them we have some things to discuss. The age of human weakness was over. The age of human strength had begun. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so quiet. Representatives from hundreds of alien species sat in their assigned seats, but none of them spoke. They all watched the center of the room where a holographic image showed Admiral Kane standing on the bridge of his flagship. Behind Kane, through the windows of the Terran Vengeance, they could see the human fleet. 50,000 ships that had appeared from nowhere, changing everything the galaxy thought it knew about humanity. Council Speaker Vex, a tall blue alien with 4 arms, finally broke the silence. His voice shook as he spoke. Admiral Kane of Earth, the Council recognizes your request to address this emergency session. Please state your intentions. Kane looked calmly at the hundreds of alien faces staring at him. Some looked afraid. Some looked angry. Many looked confused. All of them looked like they were seeing a ghost. Honored representatives, Kane began, his voice calm and professional. I am here to discuss the new reality of galactic politics. For 300 years, humanity has been a quiet member of this council. We have followed your laws, traded peacefully, and asked for nothing more than to be left alone. Council Speaker Vex nodded quickly. Yes, humans have been model citizens. Very peaceful, very weak, Kane suggested. The word hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Every alien in the chamber remembered the times they had dismissed human concerns, ignored human requests, or treated human representatives with barely hidden contempt. That was our choice, Kane continued. We chose to appear weak while we studied you. We learned your languages, your cultures, your technologies, and most importantly, your military capabilities. A Zephyrian representative, one of Crix's subordinates, raised a shaking hand. Admiral Kane, our records show that humans only possess 200 ships. How do you have 50,000? Kane smiled, and it was not a friendly expression. Your records show exactly what we wanted them to show. Every inspection of human facilities, every intelligence report, every diplomatic meeting, all of it was carefully staged to create the impression we desired. The truth was even more extensive than Kane was revealing. For 3 centuries, humans had been the galaxy's best actors. Every bumbling human diplomat who seemed to struggle with alien customs was actually a highly trained intelligence officer. Every human colony that appeared primitive was actually connected to the most advanced communication network ever built. The hegemony of stellar dominions made a critical error, Kane said, his voice growing colder. They believed their own propaganda about human weakness. They attacked our civilians, enslaved our colonists, and threatened our homeworld. Council Speaker Vex looked around nervously. Admiral, the Council was... We were preparing to address the hegemony's actions through proper diplomatic channels. Were you? Kane asked. Because our records show that the Council was preparing to do exactly what it always does when humans are attacked. Nothing. The silence that followed was deafening. Every alien representative knew Kane was right. The Council had planned to issue a formal complaint and then forget about the whole matter. The hegemony invasion force has been completely neutralized, Kane reported. All crew members are alive and will be returned to their governments according to galactic law. However, hegemony space is now under human administration until such time as we are satisfied that they understand their new position in the galaxy. An alien representative from the hegemony ally worlds stood up. His species looked like walking trees with too many eyes. You cannot simply take over sovereign territory. The Council will not allow this. Kane's expression did not change. Speaker Vex, would the Council like to enforce their will against the Human Defense Force? Vex looked around the chamber at his fellow representatives. Every one of them was thinking the same thing. They had just watched 50,000 human ships defeat a major military power without taking a single casualty. No, Vex said quietly. No, the Council recognizes the right of human self-defense. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of her new ship, the UES Justice. She had been promoted to admiral and given command of the human peacekeeping fleet. Her job was to make sure that the galaxy's new balance of power remained stable. Through her window, she could see the hegemony capital world below. Human ships patrolled the space around the planet, their presence a constant reminder of the price of aggression. Admiral Chen, her communications officer, reported, "We are receiving a message from the planetary government. They want to discuss terms for the return of their sovereignty." Sarah nodded. "Tell them we will consider their request when they have completed reparations to all the species they have enslaved or attacked in the past 50 years. It was a fair demand, but it would take the hegemony decades to fulfill. In the meantime, human administrators would run their government and teach them about concepts like justice and mercy. On Earth, changes were happening just as quickly. The hidden shipyards came out of the shadows and began openly building new vessels. Human colonies that had been secretly protected by invisible fleets now revealed their true defensive capabilities. The asteroid belt was transformed from a supposed mining operation into the most advanced industrial complex in the galaxy. Weapons that could crack planets, ships that could travel faster than light, artificial intelligences that could outthink any biological brain. All of it was now visible for the first time. Lieutenant James Park, now promoted to commander, stood in the observation deck of Luna Base. The base had shed its disguise as a simple mining facility and revealed itself as a fortress that could protect the entire solar system. "It's hard to believe," he said to Admiral Kane, who had come to visit the base. 300 years of secrets, all revealed in a single day. Kane nodded, looking out at the busy traffic of human ships moving through space. The hardest part was keeping it secret for so long. "Do you know how many people knew the truth?" "How many?" James asked. "Over 10 million humans were involved in building and maintaining our hidden fleet. 10 million people who kept the secret for their entire lives, knowing that revealing it too early could mean the extinction of our species. It was an incredible achievement in coordination and discipline. Entire generations of humans had lived their lives knowing they were far more powerful than they appeared, but never being able to show that power." Back in the council chamber, the session continued. Representatives from various alien governments were trying to figure out how to deal with this new reality. The Zephyrian delegate was speaking. "What guarantees do we have that humans will not use their power to conquer the galaxy?" Kane's answer was simple. "The same guarantee you had when you thought we were weak. Our word. The difference is that now our word carries the weight of 50,000 warships. It was a subtle threat and a promise at the same time. Humans would keep their agreements, but they would also enforce them. We do not want to rule the galaxy," Kane continued. "We want to make sure that no species can threaten another with extinction. We want to ensure that civilian ships like our medical vessels can travel safely. We want to create a galaxy where strength protects the weak instead of exploiting them." An alien representative from a small, peaceful species stood up. Her people had been bullied by larger powers for centuries. Admiral Kane, does this protection extend to all species, even those who cannot defend themselves? Kane's expression softened slightly. Especially those who cannot defend themselves. Humanity spent 3 centuries as apparent prey. We remember what it feels like to be considered weak by those who mistake strength for righteousness. The small species representative began to cry tears of relief. For the first time in centuries, her people might live without fear. The session continued for hours. New treaties were negotiated. Trade agreements were restructured. Military alliance offers flooded in from every corner of the galaxy. But the most important change was invisible. Every alien species now knew that humans were not the helpless primitives they had appeared to be. They were apex predators who had chosen to be patient instead of aggressive. As the session finally ended, Council Speaker Vex approached Kane's holographic image. "Admiral, may I ask you a personal question?" "You may ask," Kane replied. "Do you hate us for treating your people as inferior for so long?" Kane was quiet for a moment, considering his answer carefully. "Speaker Vex, humans learned long ago that hate is a waste of energy. We do not hate you for underestimating us. We planned for you to underestimate us. What matters now is not the past, but whether you are smart enough to learn from your mistakes." The holographic projection ended, leaving the chamber in silence. The aliens slowly filed out, each of them trying to understand how much their galaxy had changed in a single day. Admiral Kane remained on the bridge of the Terran Vengeance, looking out at the stars. His aide, Commander Torres, approached with a report. "Sir, all fleet units are in position. The galaxy is secure." Kane nodded slowly. "For now. But there will be other threats someday. Other species who think they can challenge humanity. We need to be ready. Will we go back into hiding, sir?" Kane shook his head. "No, the age of hiding is over. From now on, the galaxy will know exactly what humanity is capable of. Sometimes the best way to avoid a fight is to make sure everyone knows you can win it."